The emergence of globalized financial market is something that we are going to cover here. Um, Deregulation of financial markets was coupled with advances in technology. They have greatly reduced the information and transaction cost, which has led to financial innovations such as currency futures and options, and multi-currency bonds, and cross-border stock listings, and international mutual funds, and exchange-traded funds. The emergence of euro as a global currency was a momentous event in history of the world in financial systems, and it currently more than 300 million Europeans in the 19th countries are using the common currency on a daily basis. Australia, Belgium, and you see those list of countries there. The transaction domain of the euro may become larger than the United States dollars in the near future. Here's a fun question, okay? Which of the European countries used euro as their official currency as of 2020? A, Croatia, B, Sweden, C, Norway, D, Spain, E, Switzerland, F, Denmark, right? Figure out which one, okay? Every country seems to be European Union's country, member country, right? Not all. And even for European member countries, not all of them use euro currency. Huh. Guess your answer. And then here you can infer the answer to this question. 29 EU member countries list are shown, and Bulgaria, Croatia, Czech Republic, Denmark, and Hungary, and Poland, and Romania, and Sweden, they use their own currency unit so far. They promise they will join and use euro later on, but so far they have their own currencies going on. Now, the starting of European Union is an interesting one to look at. Okay? It goes back to our argument about Alsace-Lorraine, right? Here, because European unions, how did it start? People say the starting point of European Union was European Coal and Steel Community. Why the hell coal and steel community? Okay, why the heck should it be the starting point? Because the starting of First and Second World War had to do with the steel industry, and then the fighting or war between France and Germany. Remember, Alsace and Lorraine and Germany was looking at that area that is rich with iron ore. Okay, combine those iron ore with our coal, we can build our steel factory and compete with US Steel somehow, right? That was the beginning of those old troubles, right? During that late 19th century and early 20th century, Europe was all brainwashed with this kind of nationalistic sentiment, right? To demonstrate the superiority of our own blood and nation, we have to, conquer our colonies and build up these empires with our steel manufacturing facilities, kind of things, and tanks, and then all kinds of rockets, and then we're gonna bash any nations that is challenging us. Essentially, that was racist, right? Deeply racist. The kind of mindset was going on. And then what was the consequence? What was the consequence? World War, atomic bomb, all kinds of trouble. So Europeans realized and learned that it is too costly to fight for nationalism. It's racism, right? That's, why not we cooperate instead of fight against each other like crazy? Okay? And most representative one, those coal mines and iron ores, whatever, let's make it as a point of cooperation instead of the point of fighting against each other. Okay? That was the point where this ECSC was starting in 1951. Lucky you Europeans. But in Asia, why did I say lucky you? Asia, we did not have that kind of experience before, right? During that early 20th century, right? Japan learned those nationalistic racism from Germany because they were allied countries. And those elementary school education was fully brainwashing this kind of nationalistic ideologies, saying that I guess in their Japanese rule, they were brainwashing as if Japanese nation was the best and the superior nation of all around the world, right? And the remaining nations were barbarians and kind of things. And that kind of education, brainwashing education, sustained even after Japanese empire faded away. For example, in Korea, we had our own version of brainwashing with nationalistic sentiment. So much so that I remember in my childhood education, elementary school, I was brainwashed as if Korean nation was the best nation of all around the world. And China was no exception. Okay, they were brainwashed in their own way, and that their nation was the best, is the best, and things like that. And then we did not have this kind of trouble, and then did not realize, we never realized the consequence of having such a nationalistic or racist sentiment, brainwashing, okay? The consequence of brainwashing the racism. Asia did not have that experience. That's why a lot more trouble is ahead in the future of Asia right now. If you look at the diplomatic relations back and forth among these Asian countries, China, Japan, and Korea, and Vietnam, and all these Indonesia and Malaysia, Singapore, a lot more troublesome than in Europe because we did not have this kind of experience. Anyway, so getting back to European arguments, so they started the European coal and steel community, and then they started to build their own European Union, okay? And as a result, by the way, European Union's Congress, right, Assembly, where is it located? 유럽 의회 in Korean terminology. That is located none other than Strasbourg of Alsace and Lorraine, right? That's a very interesting place, again and again. You can look at this exhibit 2.5 and you will see the roadmap, how much, what kind of treaties the European people had to go through to establish the European Union and then currency community, right? The chief goal of the European monetary system are to establish a zone of monetary stability in Europe. If you destabilize this currency of any countries, we had enough of trouble, they said, right? Hyperinflation of Germany invited Nazi, right? So we want stable monetary system. And then to coordinate exchange rate policies vis-a-vis the EMS currencies and to pave the way for the eventual European Monetary Union. The member countries agreed to closely coordinate their fiscal, monetary, and exchange rate policies and achieve a convergence of their economies. The euro, the currency, paper money looks like this, right? The euro is the currency of European Monetary Union, adopted by 11 member states on January 1999, and the number of countries are increasing in that union. Daily dollar to euro exchange rate since the euro's inception. The chart that you see exhibits 2.7 is the dollar to euro exchange rate. Interesting thing is, there may be some Eurocentrism going on over here. Europe, whatever Europe is in the denominator, whatever non-Europe is in numerator. US dollar, right, is in the numerator here. So that we see the value of euro going up and down, right? and then their monthly volatility, right, is shown in the second chart. Now, the long-term impact of euro, okay, the textbook says like this: as the euro proves successful, it will advance the political integration of Europe in a major way, making a United States of Europe feasible. It is possible that the US dollar will lose its place as dominant world currency. The euro and the US dollar will be the two major currencies. Why did I cross out those two bullet points? Quite obvious, right? Brexit, right? And then the countries in the Eurozone, some of them started to realize that joining the European Union is not all positive story, but there are significant negative side of it that they underestimated before. Remember, one thing to remember is that from 1950 to 90s, right, when the European Union was incepted and then they were implemented over time, right, those times, right, was the very, very exceptional period in world economy, in that the United States was single most biggest power in the world, and then they had historically unprecedented boom time, economic boom time, okay, almost uninterrupted. And then on a massive scale. Plus, European countries, especially these member countries, were heavily exporting to the United States, taking advantage of these all positive side of it. So they almost forgot about negative possible consequences of this, of having the united economic region, right? It is possible that the US dollar will lose its place as the dominant world currency. Okay, the probability is not perfect, right? But there is, seems like US still is the most dominant currency right now. Anyway, the cost of monetary union is that the main cost of monetary union is the loss of national monetary and exchange rate policy independence. You are one of those member states. Think about United States, right? 50 different states are there, and then each different states, they don't have independence in terms of monetary policy, right? In case you're living in Minnesota, right? And then the industry over there in Minnesota got hit so much so that you lose jobs, then what? There's nothing much that the Minnesotan government can do about it. But the people can move around from Minnesota. Maybe you will go down to Texas and find jobs over there in semiconductor, maybe things like that. But in Europe, right? Different countries have different languages, and then people cannot move as much flexibly, right? Anyway, the more trade dependent and less diversified a country's economy is, the more prone to asymmetric shock that a country's economy would be. For example, Finland, right? Finland, Nokia, their half of their market cap in the stock market used to be Nokia, one single company, the mobile phone company. But if Nokia got hit by Samsung, like devastating crazily, so much so that they almost go bankrupt. I'm sorry, Nokia. I don't wish that happens, but what if, right? A lot of layoffs may happen, okay? The Finland government will be in trouble, okay? A lot of unemployment rate will happen, go up. How can they take care of this situation, okay? If it is independent monetary policy they have, then the central bank of Nokia could say, let's lower down the interest rate so that the business could businesses could start in alternative industries somehow. But because they gave up this independence of monetary policy, they can't do anything about interest rates, right? In contrast, Germany is experiencing economic boom time, so that they have, if they lower their interest rates, right, together with Finland, the German economy will suffer from inflation, like crazy. So German central bank, the German government will be afraid of lowering the interest rate as opposed to Finland government, right? So coordination of these kind of things is very, very troublesome. So basically that's it.